Hello, how are you? This is Beema's Crafty Corner, and I'm Els, and these are playing cards. I have a lot of them. All different sizes, different kinds. But you know what they have in common? I don't use them. So I thought, let's do something with these, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out some, and we're gonna do a little crafting, a little creating with them. All right. Oh, got some vintage, lots of vintage ones. Oh, those are cool. I got some old ones. All right, so we're going to pull out some of these, and you can do this with Dollar Tree cards, guys. Okay, so go get a deck of Dollar Tree cards. What's in here? Oh, these are kids cards. Kind of fun. So we'll do a couple of these. There, we'll do some of those. So get out some cards, and I'll be back with a list of stuff that we're going to need, and we will get started on this. I'll be right back. All right, so what are we going to want for this? If you don't have playing cards, let's start with that. Cut yourself some cardstock that is 2.5 by 3.5, and that'll work, okay? So if you don't have playing cards laying around that you don't want to do this with, that's okay. So what are we going to want? We are going to want some gesso. Also some Mod Podge or some matte gel, something that you can use. Just use glue if that's what you have. You're of course going to want your adhesive, some brushes that you don't really care about, some napkins. If you have Mod Podge paper, you could use that. Tissue paper, obviously some cards, a corner rounder, a pair of scissors, paper trimmer, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to clear everything out of the way, and the first thing we're going to be doing is just just gessoing these. So I'm going to clear everything. I've got something to protect my work surface, and when I come back, we're just going to go ahead and get these gessoed. I'll be right back. All right, so the reason I'm going to gesso these is because we'll do the backs so you guys can see what I'm doing here, is because cards are shiny, and so it's hard to get stuff to stick to them. Gesso gives you a little bit of texture. Now, if you don't have, bottled gesso, you could just use some white paint, and you want to use a matte paint just to take the shine off. And this doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to gesso all of these. Gesso only takes like a couple of drops. It really does spread, and it has a good coverage. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and when we're done with this, we're going to do the other side when they're dry. We'll do the other side, and then we'll come back because we're going to decorate these and make journaling cards out of them. So get your gesso out. Bye-bye, Dorothy. Or your white matte finish paint or your chalk paint would work if you have chalk paint. And go ahead and paint your cards. Get them all nice and dulled down. And then when we come back, we're going to move on to the next part. So do both sides. And then we'll work on the rest of this. I'll be back. So now that we have these and they're all dry, we have a couple of options. One, we can just do the paper and decoupage on them, or we can paint on them if we want to add some color. So some of them I'm going to add a little color to, and others I'm just going to decoupage on, all right? So let's go ahead and get our matte medium open. And of course, you can use whatever it is that you use to decoupage. I'm going to bring over some things that I want to use here to decoupage with. And one of them is this paper. It is so very light. So I'm going to use it on this one. So I'm just going to put on my adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my paper. Go ahead and set that to the side. Now, let's talk about napkins. Napkins come in different plies. And they're kind of hard to separate. So here's a quick tip. Just use a piece of tape. Put it on and pull it up. Don't be gentle here. Now, some napkins are 3-ply, so we'll test to see if this has another ply to it. I believe it does. Feels like it does. Yep, it sure does. There we go. So now that's about as thin as tissue paper. And now that we have that one, we'll go ahead and add that to one of our cards. And then I'm going to let that one, set that aside and let that dry. And then the other one that I have is this, which is actually decoupage paper. And it's just kind of a thin paper, really. So we're going to just do one of these. So I'm just going to grab a card and we'll put some adhesive on there. And for this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut this out. And let's just take this one because it's closest. And I don't have to fussy cut it if I don't want to. I could just kind of very gently kind of go around. Go ahead and put that on there, and then we'll put some adhesive over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and then I'm going to be back once they are all done and dry, and then we'll work on the other sides. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay. So all of these are dry. I did do some inking on some of the pieces that I put on. That one's not quite dry, but the rest of these are pretty much dry. Yes? Yes. Okay. So we're going to start with this one, and I'm going to use my craft file for this because cutting it doesn't always get to where you want to be. So I use a craft file for this. And all I'm going to do is just file the edge. And it just takes it off nice and clean right to the edge. like I might have missed a little glue there in the corner. That's okay. We'll just put a little adhesive on there and get that, yep, get that glued down. If I can get my glue to work. Get that glued down. Okay. Okay. So on this one, I didn't like cover the whole thing. I just covered a part of it. And you know, that's kind of what I want to do. I don't necessarily want to cover the whole thing. With this one, again, I only covered part of it, not the whole thing. All right, let's take a look. So this one is dry. That one is not. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean this one off. And so I'm going to clean them all off and just get them down to the card. And once I'm done with that, I will come back and we will move on to the next part of this little project. Okay, so I will be right back. Okay, so these are all dry now. And some of these, you know, like these kids' cards are very, very thin. Some of them are very thick. Just depends on the card. So at this point, what I would recommend is that you figure out what you're going to be doing to the back. Okay, so if you're going to mount it onto another piece, then by all means do that. If you're just going to paint this and write on the painted side, you can do that as well. I highly recommend putting paper on the back. It doesn't have to be thick paper, but it does need to be paper. Cardstock paper, something along those lines. So that being said, oh, I know I had a piece around here. I have a couple of different things. One of the things I have is this. This is just cardstock, just lightweight cardstock. You can also use paper bag for this. That would work as well. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of, oh look, yes, several will fit. So I'm going to glue these down, if my glue works. Never know anymore around here. But I am going to glue them down. I am going to paint one of them. That's why I went ahead and gessoed them all. But I am going to paint one of them, just so we can see what that looks like. But I am going to, for the most part, glue these to paper. I'm just leaving a little bit of space between them so I can cut them apart. And it can be anything. It could be scraps of file folder, whatever you want to do. The real point of this is that we are going to be doing some decorating, some faux stitching, and some other fun stuff. Look at that. That'll fit on there. Okay. Alright, so we are going to paint those two, I believe. Alright, so we have these all glued down. We're going to wait for that glue to dry. I'm going to get out the paint that we're going to use here, and I will be right back. So I have two colors of paint. One is like a pale, and the other one is kind of like a taupe. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not actually going to paint this one. I'm going to go ahead and do a dragging technique. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the lighter one, and I'm just going to kind of drag that on there. and then we'll do a little bit of the darker one. Drag that on there. And a little more of the light. Okay. And then I'm going to let that dry. And for the other one, I'm actually going to paint it on. So I'm going to mix these two colors together. It's important when you do this that you use two colors that are the same. So you want to milk paints, to matte, to gloss. You get the idea. And I'm using the lighter to lighten up that taupe because the taupe is very dark. All right, so I'm going to let these dry, and then when I come back, we're going to move on to the next part. Okay? I'll be right back. All right, so now these are all dry, and these are all glued up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these all off, and then I'm going to round the corners, make sure that I got them glued down really well. And the next part of this, you can sew if you want around these, or you can, you know, do some fake stitching, some faux stitching, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to do some, you know, one way and some the other. So if I'm going to stitch it, I'm not real worried about gluing it down, but if I am going to use faux stitching, then I want to make sure that my corners and my edges are all glued down very well. Okay, so I'm going to get all these cut out, get the corners re-rounded, decide which ones I'm going to sew and which ones I'm not. I am going to sew them off camera because my sewing machine won't fit up here. And then once I'm done with that, I will come back and we'll move on to the next part. Okay? All right, so go cut yours out, get them all glued up and everything, make sure they're all the way you want them. And if you're going to stitch it on your machine, go ahead and get that done. Otherwise, when we come back, we'll do some faux stitching and we'll move on to the next part. I'll be right back. All right, so I decided to stitch 3 of them. And I'm not a big fan of this, so we're going to get rid of it. I mean, if this was a sewing journal, then that would be something different, but it's not. So I'm not doing them for a sewing journal. All right, so we have 3 that we're going to be doing some faux stitching. And you can use anything that you want to do this. I have a Sharpie, a fine tip Sharpie. I have this Sarasa from the dollar store, which is a very good pen. I have the micro tip brush pen, which again is also from the dollar store. And I think I'm going to use that one for at least one of these. I think I'll use it on this one. And all I'm going to do is just start putting on little stitch lines, just drawing little lines. Okay? Now, if I want, I could do some little zigzag pieces on here. It's pretty simple to do. Just kind of come in and do some like little X's or some V's, and it gives you that look, and that's really all that you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these, and when I come back, we're going to move on to the next part because we're going to do some more stuff to these because they're not done yet. All right, so go and do your faux stitching or your real stitching or whatever it is you're going to do, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to do some more. I'll be right back. All right, so these are stitched, and I did these on the machine, and these I drew on the stitching. Now, this is kind of one of my little pet peeves about stitching. It kind of takes up a lot of writing room, a lot of space. It's kind of my thing. But we're going to work with these, and what we're going to do is we're just going to be decorating these to become journaling cards. So I have out some bits and pieces, some tabs that I bought at the store. I got some trim, you know, all kinds of stuff. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to decorate these. So. All right. So we'll put some ink on here. Now, I'm a big believer in if you're putting it into a journal, it should be something that you can use. Whether that is a writing space or a space to tuck other things into, it should have a purpose. And that purpose should be for journaling, one way or the other. Either you're sticking in, you know, receipts from something that you did, or tickets from a show, something along those lines. So if that is, you know, what you have, you should be able to put that in your journal. So for me, just putting stuff in is kind of a waste of space. All right, so let's see, we put that on, and I think this would look cute with a couple of staples in it. So I'm gonna put some staples on there. We'll set that off to the, get this open. Let's use a piece of this. Let's get so I think that's probably why I don't like stitching. Because I think that stitching on a machine, it sort of blocks your area to write. That's a personal opinion. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Let's get one of these out. I bought these a while ago because they were on clearance at Hobby Snobby. And I haven't really done anything with them because I have this punch, you know. Alright, so we're going to get one of those. I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to put these away. Really need to put them in my bin of stuff. Now these have double-sided tape on them, and I'm going to take the piece off, but I'm still going to use glue. only because I don't trust it, you know. All right, so we're going to put this on, and I think I'm going to do it here on the side. We'll put some clamps on that because we're gluing over the stitching. So we'll just set that one to the side, let that one dry, and bring over this one. Let's see, we have this one. We could do this one. I think we'll just do this. We have this little one. This one's cute. Kind of like it this way. Let's give this a little age. It looks like it's been handled. And then, let's see. I'm going to use this piece of tape, which isn't tape, but you know, my tape, to create my tab. I like it. And then I have this one. Let's put a little lace on this one, right? So I'm going to use some 3-in-1 for that. And then I'm going to take this this on. The top. There we go. And then we have this one. That's big. Too big. So let's get a smaller circle punch. So this is a bookmark. And I'm just going to cut 2 circles out of it. Which I'm going to ink the edge of. we're just going to add some stuff. Let's see. Anything else in here we like? I think this would look cute on here. All right. Let's get the ones that have clips. Get rid of those. This one that we left to dry. So that's it. So now we can put these into a pocket in our journal. We can write a journal on the backs of them. And we found something to do with some playing cards because we all have a lot of playing cards for no real reason other than somebody said it was a good plan and we should use them. Most of us just held on to them. So there you go. Something you can do with them. That's it. That's all I got today, guys. If you're new and I haven't offended you, cool. Hit the button, man. If I did, I'm sorry. But other than that, if you would like to know what's going on with the channel and see more videos, you can always check out my community tab. It tells you everything that I've got going on here and everything that's coming up. Videos, that, you know, free classes, tutorials, things like that. You can check that list out also on my Facebook group if you'd like to go over there. And if you are interested, go by my Ko-Fi, pick up some free digitals, maybe swing in, you know, to my Patreon and show me a little love. That's it. That's all I have. Until I see you again, stay well, my friends. I love you guys. Bye-bye.